Good morning, nerds. We have a quick update on the state of the Andrew Yang for Mayor campaign. I know a lot of people have been asking me to provide more mayoral updates. And so since yesterday I had the privilege of interviewing Andrew along with Paget, Matt, and Roberto, I thought I'd give a little summary of how the campaign's going just from what I can observe. But first, let's get Andrew to warm us up. Warm us up, Andrew.
There's no place to hide now that he's arrived. I'm saying he ain't playing now with this campaign. Bang, dang, it's and Drew, come roll with the Yang Gang. Drew Yang Gang, that's who I hooked up with. Drew Yang Gang, that's who I hooked up with. Drew Yang Gang, that's who I hooked up. Yo, there's no place to hide now that he's arrived. I'm saying he ain't playing now with this campaign. Bang, dang, it's and.
Hello, nerds. Nerds for Humanity. Oh my God, I can't believe we're back in another Yang campaign. I mean, it just feels like we were just, days ago that we were arguing about should he be included in the debates for the presidential. And here we are going for New York as a front runner. My goodness, how times have changed. So hello, nerds. Let me see who's in the chat already. Engaging life's moments. Appreciated the interview yesterday. Yeah, that was fun. It was always good to kind of hear from Andrew. And one of my reflections on that interview, in case you missed it, it's on the Andrew Yang YouTube channel, and I think I posted it in the community tab as well. One of the things that strikes me about this guy is he has so much energy. I mean, it is like, I don't know how he does it, but somehow he does. And he's able to say so enthusiastic. It's just kind of contagious. And I myself, had mixed feelings about the run for mayor, but after talking to him, it's hard not to feel pretty excited about it and the opportunity in front of him. So go check that out if you haven't. Jen Panda is, well, we won't, I won't emphasize that. But, it's okay to take a break from time to time. And if you don't make it through the stream, hopefully we'll catch you on the replay. Ethan says, good morning. Jose's got the icon. Yes, Ramirez, one of our members. Thank you. Hello, nerds. Landlines in the house. Harkins. Must be nice to be off today. It is nice to be off today. Yes, I do have the day off. So I am going to be taking the boys to the beach because they want to go construct a bunker in the sand. So we've loaded up the car with shovels and tarp and God knows what else. So we'll see what the nerdlings are up to. But before we do that, I want to give a quick update on the mayoral campaign. Also trying to get used to this new streaming software. So hopefully it'll be a little bit smoother than the previous one, and they'll get a little better and better. But appreciate all the Nerds for Humanity members who make my ability to invest in our production quality possible. Because at some point, Mrs. Nerds was saying like, hey, how much money are you spending on this channel? And now I can say, no, most of the money I use to produce and promote this channel comes from our members. So thank you again for all of that support and really appreciate it. And before you forget, don't forget to share and let people know that this stream and this channel exists. It definitely helps, and you can be part of the Nerds for Humanity growth. Okay, so let's go into some summary of how things are going. We'll start with looking at Andrew's Twitter feed and just kind of get a sense of what's the pulse of the campaign at the moment, at least, and what's he talking about. So here we have the announcement video. Okay, so this is obviously a huge deal. if you haven't seen this already, Martin Luther King III, that's right, you heard that right, Martin Luther King III, the son of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., is a co-chair of the Andrew Yang for Mayor campaign. He's endorsing him. He's going to be leading the movement to basic income, which, feels really appropriate given that his father, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., was one of the big advocates for basic income in the early days. So super massive endorsement. I remember in the national campaign, we weren't getting endorsements every day, but I think New York might be a great fit for Andrew, especially after he's run for president, after he's been on CNN, after his book has been more widely read, after people realize that he, was a ambassador of entrepreneurship for Obama, after they saw that he rolled up his sleeves and helped out in Georgia, after they saw him roll up his sleeves and help Biden defeat Trump. So New York could be the right place, right time for Andrew Yang. Then there is a video on, of course, today is Martin Luther King Day, so very appropriate. And then it looks like Andrew got on to CNN. He was in that same room when the Yang Gang interviewed him last night, so we got the same treatment as Wolf Blitzer. So that's really cool. You see, basically, the big talking point for Andrew is to really try and get the COVID response under control. And obviously, if you're a New Yorker, you care deeply about that, and he's certainly speaking to the issues that are important to New York voters. So let's see what else. There was a little bit of controversy here because Yang was with Ron Kim, who I believe is an assemblyman who has, I think, Queens, who has endorsed Andrew. And you see Andrew going along the pantry line, waving to people, some people saying, hey, I'm going to vote for you, giving them elbow bumps. And there was a concern that this was an inappropriate filming of kind of publicizing people who were requiring food bank lines and assistance. Personally, I think he's just trying to get out there. He's trying to meet with people where they are. He's trying to talk to constituents. And if people were, kind of saying, hey, Andrew, I'm going to vote for you, he went up to them and gave them the elbow bump. I don't think it was a big deal. Oh, Harkins is correcting me. This was in the Bronx. So, but regardless, the point being, he's out there. He's talking to people. It didn't seem like people were that uncomfortable. In hindsight, maybe the food bank line wasn't the ideal place to at least film the video. But, we got a super sticker from Jeanette Waverly.
Hello, nerds!
You like that little audio? Thank you, Jeanette. Woo! Jeanette Waverly with the super chat. Super sticker. I have my eyes on getting a new little hardware device that will allow me to switch views very quickly to give you a smoother show. So once I get enough member support, I'm going to buy that thing and use it in future shows. Also, we have an ad campaign that will be running maybe this week on the David Pakman Show, promoting the Nerds for Humanity channel. We're at 18,000 subs. I would love to get to 20,000 by the end of this month. It's a big goal because we haven't been growing this channel that much lately. But hopefully with all of this investment and content and some of the ad campaigns, we'll be able to do it. Okay, and then he's talking about the Super Bowl. He's not talking about the Seahawks, so we don't really, we're not going to talk about that. Oh yeah, Jeanette's still there, sorry. And then we have New York Daily News opinion. Oh, thank you, Jen Panda, for the super chat. From the prediction market, Andrew now has a 33% chance. Oh, hey, Jen Panda, if you want,
Hello, nerds.
Put a link to that prediction market in the chat. I'll try and share it as part of this live stream. Otherwise, I can Google it as well, but I'm not sure which prediction market you're referring to. Maybe I'll search for it later. See, this is where that little switching thing would be nice. But okay. So New York Daily News, it talks about the MLK Jr. endorsement, which is awesome. So he's definitely getting coverage. This was the live stream that we did. This is a meta.
I saw it as the land of opportunity.
That's Roberto. That's Andrew.
Oh yeah.
How do we
That's
accomplish
Paget.
Put $1 billion.
So go check it out.
I'm sure Paget.
I'm in there
To me, responding the way, which is like if
at some
if you
point.
look at
No, we did a
say,
rotation,
look,
so I'm definitely in there. I'm just not finding myself at the moment. That's cool. But you can see that dude up there is me. All right. So, and of course, this is the main guy. All right. Promotion of that Q&A. All right. So that is a quick summary of the Yang sort of Twitter feed. But next, I want to go into a New York Times article. I remember when we used to just be so eager for news coverage. But now we have a New York Times article saying that rivals are mocking Andrew. And this was just published a few hours ago. So let's take a look at that together. So let's see. He's getting crap for the bodega video where he did a video inside a, I don't know, convenience store. Some call it a bodega. Some call it a convenience store. And he called it a bodega. And people are like, you're not a New Yorker. You don't know what a bodega is. So let's see. Made a big splash. Let's see if I can get this visible to you guys. Get a little bigger. So the big thing here is that this dude is clearly the front runner, which is exciting. And that's for those of us who were supporting Andrew in previous campaigns, that's not exactly how we would describe him. Other campaigns pounced on Yang, questioning his authenticity as a New Yorker and commitment. While their digs highlighted some of his weaknesses, they also illustrated how they see him as a threat. They released their fundraising figures last week, showing which candidates are in strongest financial position. We're definitely going to look at that. Let's look at some numbers. Let's see. I love it, dude. As you can see, I haven't seen this, so this will be hopefully he did okay. Where be the numbers? Okay. Is there no table? Is this all words? Seriously? All right. I'm going to have to summarize it because they did not do data visualization at the New York Times. What are you guys thinking? All right. Let me just try and scan it for you guys. Test my SAT reading comprehension skills. Okay. So for several months, there were two presumed frontrunners, Eric Adams and Scott Stringer. They had name recognition. They had outpaced the field in raising money. Then you had Maya Wiley, who qualified for the matching funds program. And then you had Raymond McGuire, and then, of course, Andrew Yang. McGuire from Citigroup raised $5 million in 3 months. That's pretty impressive. Old Raymond McGuire. Wow. It pays to work at Citigroup. And then Andrew Yang. Let's see. Ooh, Mr. Adams raised the most money overall so far. $8.6 million. And he will have just over $8 million on hand once matching funds are distributed. He raised $438,000 in the most recent period. So Adams, $8.6 million. Stringer, $8.3 million. And he's going to have $7.5 million on hand. Wiley, the former MSNBC analyst and counsel de Blasio, raised $715,000, qualifying her for $2.2 million in public, taking her total to about $3 million. So Maya Wiley 3, Stringer and Adams around 8-ish. Okay, if my recollection is right, or 9 and 8 for Adams and Stringer, respectively. Wiley at 3. Okay. Where's the Yankster? McGuire not participating. He has $3.7 million, about $4 million on hand. They will raise the spending cap to $10.9 million because McGuire and Adams have so much money. Oh my God. And then there's a bunch who failed to meet the matching threshold. Where's the Yang? Mr. Yang, who officially entered on Thursday, expected to be competitive. He had 21,000 donors from New York City during his presidential. Doesn't look like they released numbers on the Yang raise, but we do know that he has qualified for matching because I saw that. So I guess we'll have to wait to see how much Yang has raised total. You're going to want to, in an interesting way, as much as I care about those numbers, I will say that I think they are important, the fundraising, but they're not as important since he has so much name recognition. And frankly, he was brilliant to get on CNN. I mean, shit, you could argue he should have paid CNN to be on their channel because it was just massive coverage, and it's also very favorable coverage. You're being put in a position as an authority figure. You're getting a lot of airtime. You're not getting, attacked. So yeah, but that's in terms of fundraising, keep an eye on that. You're going to want to raise somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 million by June, and we'll see how he does. But old Adams and Stringer each have 9 and 8 million respectively, and then Wiley's got the 3 million. So I think those are the three names to watch. The knives are out for Yang. Isn't that great? It's great when people didn't really hear Warren and Bernie attacking Yang too much in Iowa. So it's nice to see that he's actually attackable. So then you've got the bodega incident, Bodega Gate. Got 3.7 million views. He's saying, Aaron Carr, that's not a bodega. It's big and lacks cat. Oh, kudos out, Aaron. That's pretty funny. But yeah, he was in this thing. It's a pretty nice convenience store, if you ask me. Probably not the traditional bodega, but I mean, are we really going to give the guy crap for promoting small businesses and trying to kind of like get people to support local businesses? They may not be technically bodegas, but it's not the end of the world in my opinion. So at any rate, that's how rivals took a swipe saying, oh, Eric Adams saying Eric doesn't need a tour of Brownsville. He was born there. And then Maya Wiley, what did she say? Maya is running not as a backup plan. Ooh, because she's dedicated her life just for New Yorkers. So this is sort of, so there's the Yang was not born in New York. He was born in New York State in Schenectady when his dad, I think, was working at GE. And Maya, so the Eric Adams angle is I was born here. I am of New York City. And Maya's angle is I'm not here as a backup plan. I've always wanted to be mayor of New York. So they're basically kind of penalizing Andrew for trying to help the country. But, you know, it's a fair question to raise. I think as people get to know Andrew, they'll see that he's a man of very noble and altruistic intentions, and more just as importantly, he's super smart and has fresh ideas and can get stuff done and isn't afraid to make big moves. And so, you know, I would hope that the supporters of Adams and Wiley at least consider Andrew as a number 2 choice, and maybe higher, depending on how you feel. Okay. Stringer says, we welcome Andrew Yang to the mayor's race at New York City. He's been living in New York for like 25 years. His kids were born there. He fell in love there. His wife is from Queens. I believe she's from Queens. Or maybe, I'm not sure. Flushing? I'm not sure where she's from. But she's from New York. Kids were born at St. Luke's. Like, I don't know. That's a stretch to say welcome to New York City. But you know what? If you are a supporter of Stringer, it's fair to kind of test Andrew on how well he understands New York. I would just ask you to give him a chance, and if you still feel like you know, other candidates can do more for the city than Andrew Yang, then for sure respect your vote. Could Yang's entry be divinely inspired? What the hell? What does that even mean? The choice of music to accompany a candidate's official launch is a calculated decision. Don't Stop by, you know, Fleetwood Mac was Bill Clinton's theme song. Yang arrived at his launch event dancing to the song God's Plan by Drake. They wishing on me bad things. I don't even know that song. And I'm worried if I play it, bad things will happen to me from a copyright point of view. But maybe, let me just kind of briefly, for maybe a few seconds. Hold on. I don't know if I would call that a religious song. You know, maybe, I don't know. But I think that's journalists trying to write a story. They asked him about why he left the city to upstate New York during the pandemic with his kids. You know, he was living in a pretty small place. He's got 2 kids in remote learning. He's got a job as a national news broadcast analyst. I don't know. If I had the option to take my kids to more space in upstate New York, while the city is, you know, clearly being overwhelmed, like, is that a terrible thing? Like, why wouldn't a father and a husband and a media analyst do that? Like, I don't know that we should fault him for that, but those are the questions that were raised. There's Evelyn and the boys. Oh, is that a phone? Oh no, that's gloves. I thought they handed one of them. I would have done that. I would have handed one of them a phone and been like, dude, I gotta do a press conference. Go play Minecraft. All right. And then there's talk about the subway, where Yang saying that they should take control of the subway from the state. And the problem being that Cuomo is not known for ceding power. So, Jekalago is saying, hey, that music video for God's Plan is Drake giving people money. Okay, so it's like a basic income angle. I mean, it also has a nice beat to it. So that doesn't hurt. All right, so that is a summary of the New York Times article. And let's see. Sass is saying, I feel sorry for New Yorkers. Ooh. We'll put that here. Who feel because a 2-bedroom house is seen as a luxury. Yeah, that is true. I mean, that is the reality of living in the city. Look, of course, it's not a great look that, he had the resources and the opportunity to go to a bigger space. But like, if you play the alternate scenario, would you want someone running for mayor to be like, hey, I haven't announced my run yet. I haven't started my campaign. I'm in this 2-bedroom apartment with 2 young boys. And as a father of 2 boys, like, they often need a lot of room, especially in a remote learning situation. And then you're like, oh, and I have this job as an analyst on CNN where I'm on camera all the time. And I have an opportunity to go do this from a house in New York, upstate New York, in a more rural area. Would you want a candidate who's like, what? But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do what's right for my wife or my kids or my job and that I have a accountability and responsibility towards, because I'm worried how it will look, if I, in the future, run for mayor. I'd rather you get a leader that does the right thing and, kind of lets the chips fall where they may. And hopefully voters will understand that. All right. Next, I wanted to share a little bit about how Andrew and his competitors are doing. This is a kind of kind of flashback to the old times of the Nerds channel. We'll look at search data and social media data, and then I'll also see if I can find. Maybe I can try and look here. NYC mayor betting odds, and see if I can find. See what the gamblers are thinking in terms of who has the best chance of winning, and then we'll wrap it up, and maybe I'll take some questions, and then I got to go take the kids outside because, as I mentioned, they are 2 boys and they are very very active little ones. Okay, so before we get into the data, let me do this. Let me give a quick shout out to the people who make this channel and the technology that's streaming and the podcast and the lighting and the audio and the green screen and then very soon some ad campaigns promoting this channel. Let me just give a shout out because without them we wouldn't be here. So first, Kristen Slevin is our longest, biggest member. She's the Executive Vice President of the Nerds for Humanity Nation. So thank you, Kristen, for hitting that join link very early on. And, back then we probably only had a few thousand subs, and now we're up to 18,000 and hopefully growing. On the VP side, we've got, let's see if I can make this a little more visible to you. Okay, here we go. V Lamb, JM Sap, Fat Lamb, Soldier One, Laura Lane, Joshua Frick, Patrick Dunn, Bike, and Boyce from Mindful Skeptics. Oh, you can't see Boyce. Hold on. Here we go. Ah! Oh, no. Goodness. Hold on. Hold on. This is so bad. As you can see, I'm still getting used to the screen sharing functionality. Let me pull that back up. Very, very sorry. This will be right here. I'm gonna get there, guys. I know. You're like this lunatic. What kind of live stream is this? All right, here we go. Let's see if we can get that going. There. Okay. Back. Hopefully. All right. So we had Boyce on this list somewhere. Where in the Sam Hill? Oh, yeah. Total time as members. Mindful Skeptics. All right. Next level. We had our hardcore. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move myself there. I'm getting there, guys. All right, we have Mike, Gene, David, Tracy, DK, Landline, Phoenix, Jekkalego, who is actually in the live stream right now, if I do recall correctly. Kirsch, Mr. History Fan, Byram, Mona, Susan, Yang, Robert, Dean, Stat Nerd, Jalessa, Jalacia, and Jay Perrin. And let's see here. Hold on. Maybe I can make this a little more visible to you. There. Now you got all the way down there to Jay Perrin. Oh no, it starts at Dean. You guys can't see. Well, sorry, Jay Perrin. I appreciate you, brother. Okay, next we have the last level verified. Helen, Lisa, Sugar, Albert, Brandon, Yes, Brian, Pete, Arez, Your Mammon, Sophia, Jedwiga, Gail, Shake and Make Mike, Doris, Emerald, Nell, Lori, Ben, Roger, Lisa, Christina, Vaughn, Tony, Rastafasta, Ryan, Jessica, James, Jalopy, Emma, Joel, Spirited Way, Stephen, Ira, Shoni, Philip, Jameson, Ender the Third, Dr. A, William, Karen, Annalisa, and Monica. Annalisa and Monica are our newest members who had just joined quite recently. Oh, I can sort it like this, and then you can see them up here. Annalisa and Monica, welcome. And then in terms of who our newest members are overall, yeah, Annalisa, Monica, Karen Miller, Jay Perrin, all very recent members. So thank you for your support. And now let us get on with the data. Oops, hold on 1 second. Whew, my goodness. My heart goes pitter patter every time I'm trying to figure out how to share the right tab at the right time. All right. Let's start with Twitter. You guys are probably going to enjoy this one. Check this out. Check this craziness out. Oh, I got to move myself. I'm going to move myself over here. Okay. So, this is comparing Eric Adams, Andrew Yang, and Scott Stringer. Now, I will say I am not comparing Eric and Scott's official government Twitter handles. Like, Scott's the comptroller. I felt like that was probably not fair because I presume he probably inherited some from those official accounts. So these are their personal political accounts against Andrew Yang's personal Twitter. And as you can see, in terms of followers, you've got Andrew Yang with darn near 2 million Eric Adams with 2,600 and Stringer with 11,600. So it's quite a big difference between the two. Eric and Andrew are the lines down here. Eric and Scott are the lines down here, and then old Yanger is this blue guy. So not really comparable in terms of Twitter reach. If only Twitter chose the mayor of New York City, we would be done. But as a reminder, this probably reflects Andrew Yang's national support. I think New Yorkers would be proud to have a mayor that has a national profile. But it's up to them, and they're gonna have to decide, and they're gonna have to make sure that Andrew knows his stuff. And I'm sure he'll rise to the occasion. This looks at the daily growth in absolute terms, and so you see yesterday Andrew added 2,000 followers, Eric Adams added 18, and Scott Stringer added 48 on January 18th. On January 17th, Scott Stringer added 46, Andrew Yang added 2,750, Eric Adams didn't add any. And then the previous day, Scott Stringer added 69, and Yang added 4,840. So pretty strong growth. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. Here we go. I hope you can see it now. So basically, you can't compare these numbers. Like, you could say, like, oh, Andrew came in with a big following, but he's also growing his following a lot faster. Oh, thank you, Div J, on the Yang interview. I wish we had more time with him. I'm going to try and get Yang back on the Nerds channel for a one-on-one, and I was proposing to him, hey, man, what if I did a one-on-one interview with you, and 80% of the time it was just you and me looking at charts together, sort of like a nerd bro kind of nirvana, just like data and data visualizations and unpacking details and getting into the nuts and bolts and really being precise and going beyond sort of theory into like, okay, but what are we seeing on the ground kind of thing. So hopefully we'll be able to make that happen. And then this is the projections based on their current size. You know, you basically, they're projecting that that Yang will end up with, you know, millions and millions of followers, and in about 5 years. Frankly, they think that he'll hit 3 million on this track by 2022, by early 2022, a year from now. I bet he will even be beyond that. But yeah, so that's the state of the Twitter growth. Basically, it's like comparing an aircraft carrier to some speedboats. Now, in fairness to the speedboats, they did not run for president, and they were not campaigning in Georgia. And I'm guessing their supporters would say, like, well, this is not a popularity contest. Like, we don't care that your guy has 2 million Twitter followers. I think that's a fair point. All I'm saying is that Andrew seems to be attracting a lot of support, and that support in some ways could be beneficial to New Yorkers if he became mayor, because your mayor, I would imagine, will need to work with business leaders to get them to stay in New York or get them to move to New York. That mayor is going to need to work with the governor and have a platform to kind of make his voice heard and have some influence there. So I think there's actually, it's not really just like a popularity contest. It's also a, hey, what can the mayor do for New York? what can he or she bring to the table in addition to great policy and execution? Can that mayor actually bring a little more clout, if you will? And Andrew does bring that to the table. I mean, I would argue he probably has pretty good relations with the White House as well. So something to think about. Next, let's look at the betting odds. Oh, no, sorry. We'll look at the search trends, and then we're going to go look at the betting odds. Okay, so, and by the way, if you're finding this useful, don't forget, you know what I'm going to ask you to do. Like and share this video now. Okay, so here we have the web search traffic comparing. As much as I like to promote my channel, I need to move this a little bit. Okay, you guys all heard me. Can you just like and share now, and then I can make this thing go away? I'll wait. Go ahead, just hit smash that like button like the nerd, like you own the thing, like you stole it. All right. Hopefully you did it, because I'm gonna just use the nerd honor system. All right. So now we have a nice clean screen, and you see here Andrew, Scott, Eric Adams, Maya Wiley, and Christine Quinn, who I think are some of the key competitors in this race. And here you see I've just limited the geographic search to New York, New York. So this is not national searches. This is just searches within New York City. And it's the last 30 days. We could even do the last 7 days. And as you can see here, a lot of search activity, you know, generally orders of magnitude more for Yang than the others. Who is closest? Looks like, nah, they're all pretty much equal. So there's Yang and then kind of everyone else. Now, you know, I'll acknowledge that this is not the way that New York picks its mayor by how many people are searching for him, but it could be an indication of interest in Andrew. And then you see, where is he getting a lot of searches? Jericho, New Paltz, Larchmont, Chappaqua, Brookville. That is interest for Yang. A lot of people searching for the bodega. Darren Aronofsky, Daniel Day Kim, who basically endorsed Andrew. And then for Scott Stringer, you have a lot of people who are searching for Raymond McGuire. And I see here that the numbers and Cyribre are saying, hey, no, you shouldn't be looking at Christine. Christine's not that big of a deal. You should be looking at Raymond McGuire. All right, so why don't we ixnay Christine Quinn just for giggles and add Raymond McGuire. Jerry Maguire. I hope I spelled McGuire right. M-C-G-U. I think that's right, yeah. I'm using search term. Raymond, you know, no, not a lot of interest in the search term Raymond McGuire. Maybe it's because it's capitalized. I want to be fair. I did everybody else lowercase. I don't think that's going to make a big difference, but yeah, not a lot of action for Raymond McGuire at the moment. The Stringer searches, the number one Scott Stringer search is Raymond McGuire, which is interesting. Okay, now Mike is like, well, what about for YouTube searches? Okay, you guys. This was web search. We could do YouTube. I'm guessing he's going to crush YouTube. It won't even be comparable. Yeah, blue is Yang. I mean, everybody else is basically, undetectable, except for a little bit of Eric Adams on YouTube. But, you know, the blue... I got to get better at zooming here for you guys. Yeah, here, the yellow is Eric Adams, and then the blue is Andrew Yang. So, not a lot of action for the others relative to the Yang on YouTube. Let me go back to the web search. And let's see. Eric Adams, what are people searching for when they look for Eric Adams? Fireworks and Maya Wiley and polls and Raymond McGuire. So I will give you this. You know what's interesting? This Raymond McGuire character for Maya Wiley searches is also the #1 related query. Interesting. But then when you look for searches for Yang, McGuire does not come up in the top 5, not in the top 10. So at least people who search for Yang are not looking around at McGuire, but people who search for Stringer are very much so thinking about McGuire, and people who search for Eric Adams are mostly interested in his fireworks. I guess there was a story about Eric Adams and fireworks. Maya Wiley, the #1 related search is Raymond McGuire. And Raymond McGuire, what are they searching for? They're searching for Stringer McCrary, Crystal McCrary. All right, so that is a little bit of a summary of the search and Twitter. I would say Twitter, he's crushing it. The Yang search, he's doing also crushing it. You know, I will remind you that he was crushing it on Twitter and YouTube for sure for the presidential campaign. So sometimes that doesn't really translate. But it does show there's clearly a nice, strong interest in this guy. Now let's look at betting odds and see what the gamblers are saying. Let me see if I can get this working again. Yes, it worked. Okay, so here, this is a Newsweek article. Oh, so funny. This Newsweek article that was just published on Jan 14th, it refers to Andrew Yang as a Silicon Valley millionaire. As a reminder, I don't think he's ever lived in California. But I guess... I mean, he is Asian, but not all Asian people live in Silicon Valley. I'm not sure if the folks at Newsweek know this, but either way, he is leading the pack in betting odds. The primary, where there'll be 32 candidates, is going to be held on June 22nd, and then the election on November 2nd. Passing the mantle from de Blasio. UK bookmaker Ladbrokes give Yang 2-1 odds to win the mayoral contest, with Stringer at 3-1, Eric Adams at 4-1, McGuire at 6-1, and Wiley at 10-1 at the time of writing. So, yeah, you know, sometimes those, like, you know, I will tell you, these gamblers are not crazy, because if you look at what their predictions were for the presidential campaign, they had Yang as a long shot, and that was pretty much the summary. You know, he had to suspend after New Hampshire, and a lot of people were saying, "Oh, these gamblers, they don't believe in the Yang gang, blah blah blah." They don't, man. They just want to make money. And the good news is the people who want to make money believe that Andrew has the best odds to win. And so, you know, they're not saying like it's a slam dunk, but they're certainly saying he has a 50% chance better, 50% more chance of winning than the next person, which would be Stringer. So, and that's encouraging, and double of Adams. So, Take that with a grain of salt, but it certainly is encouraging. And in summary, I would say MLK, that's kind of a big endorsement. Still leading in both polls. I know some people were saying like, oh, you can't trust these polls. The polls were of not only, at least the public policy poll, the most recent one, where Yang was still number one. Andrew Yang is number one. Were of registered Democratic voters who plan to participate in the primary. So I think there is some legitimate front runner status there. Killing it on Twitter, web search, YouTube. For money, the other guys have 9, 8 million, 3 million, respectively. Wiley has 3. I think Adams and Stringer are 9 and 8. We don't know what Andrew's number is. It's not published yet since he's such a new kind of recent entry. But if he's already getting matching funds, that's already putting him in tier 1. And, as a reminder, this guy, how much did Andrew raise for the presidential? How much did Andrew Yang raise for presidential campaign? I want to say it was like 40 million. So he raised 40 million for the presidential when he was a long shot. He's going to need to raise around 10 if he wants to match Adams and Stringer. It would not surprise me if he actually surpassed them. But I almost don't think he needs to. I think he just needs to basically make sure he can help voters understand that he gets New York. He understands its problems. He has innovative solutions. He's an honest, hardworking, smart dude who's going to bring fresh perspectives. And if he does that, guys, we might be looking at the next mayor of New York City, which would be incredible, as just a huge achievement for the Andrew Yang kind of movement. And if he can then turn New York around, sky's the limit. Like they say, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. So the numbers are saying, how much do you think he's raised so far? That's a good question. If I had to guess, and I have no idea, I don't really have any inside information, but if I were just a betting man, which I kind of am, I would not be surprised if he has already raised about 5 million. I would not be surprised. Maybe somewhere between 4 and 5 million. Basically a little more than Maya, Wiley, but less than Eric and Adams and Scott Stringer, because he is just getting started. And a lot of the national support is still kind of grokking like, oh, he's running for mayor, and can he really do it? And I think as people understand, like, oh no, Mofo is a front runner, you're actually investing and supporting a campaign that's likely to win. People may actually, ironically, give more money than they did in the presidential, because they see a path and they want to see him like implement basic income, and they want to see him apply scorecards and data and kind of manage New York and lead it to its kind of New York 2.0, if you will. So with that, I think I'm gonna wrap. I gotta take the kids outside, let them run around a little bit. But I want to thank everybody for all of the membership support, the super chats. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. It will mean a lot to me, because what it does is it allows us to attract more guests. So I'm trying to get like Ron Kim. Maybe I should reach out to Daniel. Is it Daniel Day Kim? I think it is. I'd love to get Tim Ryan back on. I'd love to get, a bunch of folks from Congress onto the show. And then I'd love to get some New York kind of thought leaders on as well. And I'd love to get Andrew back. And in order to get guests and have really good conversations, we have big audience numbers, unfortunately. So that's part of the game. And it makes sense. Like, if they are going to spend time with someone, they're not going to go on some channel that has like 100 subscribers. But the more you have, the better. And then the other benefit from growing this channel is just more people can get access to the kind of data and kinds of conversations and kind of logical approach that we try to have here. So happy Martin Luther King Day. And maybe what we'll do is we'll wrap this up with, maybe if I can find that video that Andrew shared around MLK Day. And then that'll be a nice way to kind of close out the show. So let's see how long this video is that he's got here. It's loading. I wonder if the boys are using my interweb. I'm seeing an ad now. That'll be done in about 3 seconds. I'll spare you. Okay. This is a 3-minute video about MLK that Andrew shared. I won't play it uninterrupted, and that's because I need to add my own interpretation. Otherwise, it would be potentially violating copyright. So if I interrupt and you're like, why does he keep interrupting this video? It's partly because, well, I would like to share some thoughts, and also because I need to be respectful of the original copyright owner. So I will also do this. I'm going to paste a link to the video and put it in the chat so you can watch it uninterrupted if you would like to do that on your own time. Okay, so here we go. Let me see if I can get this thing going. Boom.
Martin Luther King Jr. is celebrated as a champion for civil rights. But today, I want you to think about a different part of my dad's legacy. Something that you may not know, but it's more relevant today than ever. His fight against poverty and income inequality.
But if a man doesn't have a job or an income, he has neither life nor liberty and the possibility for the pursuit of happiness.
This, I'll just make one observation. What's super interesting here, in my opinion, is that, if anything, basic income is probably as much a African American innovation and an African American community owned idea as it is an idea of Milton Friedman or Andrew Yang or whoever else is supporting basic income. And I feel like that history is, certainly I was not as aware of MLK's support for basic income, and it's just incredible. On today, Martin Luther King Day, his son is talking about the importance of basic income and anti-poverty through direct cash support, instead of complicated programs, as the co-chair of the Andrew Yang for Mayor campaign. So if you care about African American issues, or you're a member of the Black community, or you have an interest in seeing us grow as a country, please continue listening.
When my father was shot in 1968 in Memphis, he was crusading for higher wages for Black sanitation workers. Their work conditions were abysmal. Low pay, no sick leave, and many were on welfare. In a speech to the workers, Dad said the issue is injustice. The issue is the
refusal of Memphis to be fair and honest in its dealings with its public servants.
I mean, this is something I think a lot of us have observed, right? Where folks who do work that people with resources don't want to do tend to be overrepresented in minority groups, especially African American and Hispanic. And so if you care about racial justice and more equality and co-prosperity, you've got to address this underlying issue of poverty. And sadly, we still have that issue today, even though this is obviously from MLK's days. It's still going
Today,
on.
my dad is revered, but in 1968, he was deeply unpopular. 2/3 of Americans disapproved of him.
Oh, I've been hit so many times, I'm immune to it.
The FBI said he was a communist, but he kept protesting anyway. I traveled with him as a kid throughout Georgia in preparation for the Poor People's Campaign. The idea was to rally people to Washington to press the federal government to provide jobs and income for the poor. This was his other dream, but he did not live to see it come to fruition. I think of my father's.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to wrap there and encourage you all to watch the entire video uninterrupted. Basically, on today, Martin Luther King Day, you've got the son of Martin Luther King saying, I want Andrew Yang to be the mayor of New York, and I support his initiative to introduce a $1 billion a year basic income pilot in New York City. So, oh, Kevin is asking, where is the video? It's on New York Times. I just put a link in the chat again, so hopefully you can find it. So for that to happen today, it could be a kind of a big deal, not only for Andrew Yang's campaign, but for New York. So with that, I'm going to encourage you all to go to andrewyang.com and see if you can help him close that funding gap. Even if you just give $10, $5, $8, whatever you can do, it will, I'm sure, be put to good use. And think of it as an investment in a future leader that could not only save New York City, but do great things beyond as well. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye, nerds. Peace out, brothers. Bye, nerds.